guys, how's it going? Today we are going to be planting 5 different varieties of Echinacea, all varieties that I do not have yet in this garden. You can see them right behind me. I had a weak moment at the garden center the other day. They just had received a big load of new perennials, and I mean fresh plants this time of year when everything's like a little bit stressed. I mean, the heat is kind of getting to all of us, but to find plants like this that are just coming into their peak season, their prime, I don't know, it's really hard to pass those up. Hey bud. Okay, so here's what we have for varieties. This one right here, they only had one left. If they would have had more, I would have bought more. Isn't that so unique and gorgeous? It kind of looks like green twister, but the coloring is a little bit more intense. This one's called Sweet Sandia. I just think it's so beautiful. I can't wait to see this one get bigger. This one right here, oh my goodness, Russell. This one right here is Sunny Days Lemon. Isn't that gorgeous? It almost looks artificial. I love the contrast between that bright green and the really beautiful sunshiny yellow. This is the most compact, I think, out of all the varieties we're going to be planting today. And then we have one, can you hear the drip system turning on? It is squealing over there. My goodness. Then we have one called Raspberry Truffle, which reminds me of the Raspberry Beret that we planted earlier, but I think the difference here is that as this one gets bigger, like it'll kind of take on this look right here, like a little bit bigger of a flower. And as these outer petals start to reflex and turn downward, this middle section, like the brown right here, gets larger and larger and kind of looks like a chocolate truffle on the top. As opposed, I think the Raspberry Beret maintains color, like the pink color, a little bit longer, but we'll have to see as we have both of these in the garden. I'm really excited for the chocolate truffle aspect of this though. And then this one here, you might be kind of surprised to see this one in the trailer because it's got such a warm color palette, but you see so many different colors on this one variety. It's called Cheyenne Spirit. It reminds me a lot of the Echinacea we put in the containers by the flower shed. What was the name? Lakota Fire, which I think just changed. That name changed to Summer Song Firefinch, I think, but it has the same color spectrum in that you'll see some red, you'll see orange, you'll see peach, you'll see tropical pink, you'll see kind of a light apricot color. It's just a really beautiful blend. I mean, look at that. There's the red, and then you've got, I love this color right here, and I love this shape. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. This is on the same plant right here, and this whole row, like you can see a bright pink right there. I just think it'll bring a bright punch somewhere out there. And the last variety is White Swan, which I got the most of these. I have some White Swan down in this space that we just worked in. I'll walk down there in a second, but I love them so much there that I wanted to add some more. And what I like so much about the White Swan is that the flowers are just a tiny bit more dainty than some of the other ones. And it's just like a very beautiful plant to tuck in. See right here? Isn't that a gorgeous plant? There are several in this area. In fact, I thought about tucking some more back in here, but these plants are going to fill in really quickly. There's 1, 2, 3 that were shrouded by this elderberry before we got that project done. This one was the nicest of all of them, but you could kind of see what that looks like. So the things that all of these varieties share in common is that they're all at least a zone 4 through 9, except for White Swan, which is hardy down to zone 3. So it is the toughest of the bunch. They're all low water use perennials as well, which I know a lot of us are wanting to add more of those into our garden once established. I mean, of course, first year, you have to give most everything more water than it's gonna want, you know, in following years. But once they're established, they like it hot and dry. That's what they thrive in, which is amazing. They are tolerant of high pH soils. They can pretty much adapt to whatever kind of soil you have, so long as it's well draining and it's in full sun. They also will attract pollinators like crazy. I mean, you guys would be amazed. If you don't have any Echinacea in your garden, add some in and then just watch the pollinators come. And they're one of the lowest maintenance perennials I have out in the garden. It's a once a year cutback, usually in late winter, early spring. I don't even deadhead through the season because the cones look so pretty even after the petals have fallen off that I just like to leave them for fall and winter interest, and it's good for wildlife forage. I'll go over individual specs for all of these in terms of height and width when we do our walkthrough in the very end. I just thought showing you all of the varieties all clumped together in one area would be so pretty. It's also easier to see detail in the shade. We're heading out to full sun here in a second. Now, one of the wonderful things about all of these plants I'm putting in today too is that I get to use the 5-inch auger, which is awesome. It's quite a bit lighter than the other augers that we use, so I always am happy for a chance to break out the smaller augers, and I kind of rock it back and forth in the hole just to kind of ream it out a little bit and widen it up. I also have our Biotone starter fertilizer in the N2. Today we are going to plant up one container because I do have some I know it seems weird to plant a container at the very end of July, but I have some new Supertunias that are in the warm color. They're called Scarlet, I think. They're in the warm color family. I'm going to plant it near the greenhouse just because I want to see how they grow. So we will do that in the very end. But let's go get these planted now. They are all in. Let's take a look at where they ended up. First one is the white swan. So there are 7 of them right here. They grow about 3 feet tall, 2 feet wide. So they will be a very striking, large presence right here. And I think it's a really good color in between the Roseanne geranium, which grows roughly 20 inches tall. So it'll be a step down, and the firefly peach yarrow, or firefly peach sky yarrow. The cone in the white swan has a similar color to the yarrow, so I think those will look really good together, but contrasted because the foliage is different, blooms are different. I think it'll be really nice. Next one right here. So I recently planted these Luna daisies right here, and let me swing the hose over, but I thought, well, I could put 2 more of the Luna daisies in here, or I could tuck in this one Echinacea. So that's the sweet Sandia, growing about 2 feet tall, 16-inch spread or so. So it'll just be a really pretty little thing just tucked right in there. There's Baptisia right behind it. I just think the whole area is really sweet, and it's got a very cool color palette. I love this so much. Gosh, I need more of these for cutting. Raspberry truffle is next. I don't have a tremendous amount planted in this area, but we have the forest pansy redbud looking good this year. We've got the Queen Nectarine Agastaki right here, which I think is going to be so great. We had a little troubles with the water right here, but we got it worked out. They're all fine. And that will be a beautiful kind of tropical apricot pink color. The raspberry truffle will look so good with that. Right beyond it, we've got a blue, what is that, blue shadow Fothergilla bottle brush. But these will grow anywhere from 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. So nice, big, perennial. I did leave some space in front of both of these. You can see that, so I can put something lower in there. These 2 colors are going to be so nice together. And let's go around the loop to see the Cheyenne spirits. So much room over here to plant things. Kind of want to show you this one from this direction because the Russian sage, the denim and lace, looks really good. And that purple looks so pretty with all the color tones going on in the Cheyenne spirit. Plus, I felt like I needed something that could hold its own up against the Tiger Eyes sumac because these are so striking and such a unique color that I feel like pink would look a little washed out, honestly. I think there's some Nepeta there that looks really nice, and then there's pink Echinacea down the way. But right up next to it, I thought something a little bit warmer would look really good. And then the purple will help me transition right back into a cool color tone on the other side of it. So these will grow about 30 inches tall, 2 feet wide. And again, I left space in front so we could come in with something shorter. I've got some really beautiful sedums I might bring over here. I think that would be a kind of an appropriate look here. And I'm actually hoping that this Tiger Eyes sumac naturalizes. It is starting to a bit. It doesn't behave like the older varieties of sumac that will like take over your garden really quickly. This one spreads, but it does it slowly. And I wanted this whole area to kind of be like sumac land, at least a little bit of it, because the fall, well, the foliage texture right now is awesome. The fall color, you can't really compare much anything to it. It's amazing. And I'm fairly certain and hoping that we have blooms on the Echinacea at the same time that this is starting to come into fall color, because you guys, it's gonna be glorious right here. And the Sunny Days variety ended up on the other side. I love where this one ended up so much. It looks so pretty. It's just the right color of yellow. It doesn't look hot. It's because it's got that kind of cool, soft tone, and I think the chartreuse in the center also helps with that. So in this immediate area, like we have the driveway right here, and I do want there to be beautiful perennials lining it so it looks colorful and just really pretty throughout the season. But I've also got, we're starting in on some winter interest, so that's a Zafiro blue spruce, which eventually I'll have to move stuff away from it, but they're fairly slow growing. But we've also got denim and lace Russian sage, we've got the green twister and the delicious candy echinacea on the other side. Eventually with this spruce, you won't be able to see the two varieties of echinacea together, although I think it looks pretty still. I'm going to put an ornamental grass right here. I've got an avalanche calamagratis I think would look beautiful. I've actually got 3 or 4 of them I might kind of dot in this area. But these actually get bigger than I thought. I thought they were topped out at like 18 inches, but they can get 22 to 30 inches tall, 30 inches wide. So decent size right there. I actually had some violet night lobularia left over, and so I just went along and found an emitter along drip tubing. Just anywhere where there was an emitter, I popped one, and they're looking really good. Let's take a look from this side. So you can see how we've just kind of started here, and we're just developing as we go. Working on it little by little. And here are all the tags in the shade, just in case you want to note any of the names. I'm sure we will put them below the video in the description though. Isn't that just the most beautiful group of plants? So planting this time of year requires keeping a very diligent, close eye on plants. You know, it's just so hot that if you relax on the watering, it could be really, really kind of not that great for your plant. So today I watered everything in after I was done planting it. I will check them again this evening, especially now that the wind is starting to pick up a little bit, because that does dry things out quicker. It is making it a lot more pleasant to be out here though, to be honest with you. It's kind of nice. And then we will run drip to the ones that don't have drip nearby them, which I was actually surprised. There was drip in most of the areas, so we're not gonna have to do that much, but we'll do that later on this afternoon, so that tomorrow, like right now all the drip zones are running. So tomorrow they will be watered by the drip system, but we still check them. I check them every single day for a while, just to make sure they're not shocking or they don't need anything additional from me. Okay, now we're gonna head to the greenhouse and plant up that one last planter. Here we are. So we're going to be planting up this elevated raised bed. This is from Gardener Supply. We used this actually in the greenhouse this spring. I grew radishes, beets, and carrots in here. The most beautiful carrot harvest I've ever had, I think. Growing carrots in 100% raised bed mix versus, you know, in native soil, which can be a lot heavier. Oh, you get some really nicely shaped carrots. Anyway, I've got some straggler plants here. These are the last of the cannas. These are 3 toucan yellows that I thought we would use here. And then we've got a new Supertunia for next year. So this is a Supertunia Mini Vista Scarlet. So it's not normally my color palette right here, but I thought it would be fun. It's kind of the perfect area to try it out by the greenhouse. And then I've got this lantana called Luscious Basket Tangelo. Is this one new too? I think it might be. I think that these are gonna work together. This is kind of like a tropical vibe right here. And the scarlet isn't really like a super warm red. In fact, let me show you. I was going to use this lantana right here. This is the Luscious Citrus Blend, but this to me is a really warm, like a very orangey red. The scarlet is much cooler in color to me in person. I don't know how it comes across in camera. So I think it's going to pair better and almost look like more appropriate with the Tangelo. And then I've got a few sweet potato vines. So I'm just gonna pack this thing out since it's so late in the season. Let's do it. And there it is, all done. I think it turned out really pretty, and here comes Aaron.
Looks great.
Do you love it?
I do love it.
There's red in it.
Yeah, you know, I'm not as big of a red fan as I used to think I was.
What?
Or maybe I've changed, I don't know.
What? When did this change occur?
The last couple years, I guess. I think I like a lot of the colors you like now.
Yeah. Is it because it's hot and the warm colors?
Yeah, I think maybe that's what it is like during, you know, when it's over 100, you kind of crave those like lighter pink, you know, blue, even, you know, yellow can end up being hot at times, or orange.
Yeah.
Can be really hot looking.
This kind of gives me a little bit of tropical vibes, I think. Well, I mean, it could be the canna, but also the colors. I think they play really nicely together. So 3 cannas in there. There's the luscious Basque Tangelo, which grows like 12 to 26 inches tall. So, you know, I think now that we have so much heat, these things will just grow pretty quickly. So that'll kind of take up the middle section. And then I just ringed it with the Supertunia Mini Vista Scarlet. And there are 4 sweet potato vine. The Sweet Caroline Sweetheart Lime do not get quite as big as some of the others, but this is still, I mean, it's full from day one, but it'll still get pretty good size, I'm guessing. Looks good in that raised bed too, I think. And that is going to do it for today's video. I'm just so thrilled with the Echinacea. Every single year I think I need to add more and more Echinacea in, and I think we're getting on top of it because I feel like I've got pockets of it in a lot of areas out there, and I just love it so much because, you know, we've got the first flush of perennials, the Salvia and the Nepeta and the Veronica, that brought so much beautiful color early on. So we need to have things that pick up that color show when that first flush is done, and Echinacea is just one of them, and I love it. And this is a fun one too, so we'll give you updates as we go along here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.